Your mission, if you choose to accept it, is utilizing UBD and GRASP to help facilitate teacher buy-in for iSTEM, and most importantly, to have students journeying on the road toward a better understanding of STEM, 21st century skills, and academic achievement. A magazine is an iPad that doesn't work. If you click on the website, it'll take you to a little girl who's about 1 year old, and she's pushing all the different pictures on the magazine. We know digital natives view the world in a way that most digital immigrants cannot even conceive, and yet a lot of the schools are insistent on doing it the same old way. Insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Thanks, Einstein. Wells and Ernst, 2012, discuss a way to do it differently. iSTEM. Since you're still here, I assume you've chosen to accept your mission. You're going to show how UBD and GRASP can enhance the overall iSTEM curricular consideration, not only within the science, technology, engineer, and math arena, but to also allow for integration of the other content areas as well. Please place your left eye on the scanner for identity verification. Sorry, the middle school teacher in me emerges. I would hate for you to know how many of my students would have actually done what I asked you to do. Another challenge for you to think about: many students with unrealized potential continue to struggle in science and math. Particular problems come from language issues and discursive practices. Working as an interdependent team can allow for everyone to work through the mandates of their curriculum while attaining the goals of iSTEM and preparing our students for the future. Typically, we choose to teach what we love. As you can see, I am not a science, technology, engineering, or math teacher. So my first question to you is, are you mad? Do you really think I'm going to successfully integrate my curriculum into iSTEM? Can we move purposefully beyond the "are you mad"? Innovation, technology literate, problem solvers, inventors, self-reliance, logical thinkers? Is that what we're expecting from our students in a STEM education? It sounds good to me. It sounds pretty much like 21st century learners, right? We can do this if we develop an interdependent plan to accomplish the goals of iSTEM while fulfilling the requirements of the other content areas. I suggest a few must-haves. There has to be strategic planning. There needs to be maintenance of consistent alignment. No excuses should be allowed. Teachers and the leadership need to be held accountable. No one teacher, no one leader is going to destroy the concept of iSTEM. Ensure everything is data-driven. Let students evaluate your teachers and your leaders. They'll let us know where we need to improve. I also recommend looking at the districts that are attaining success. Look at Montgomery County. They just won the Baldrige Award. Obviously, there's something to be learned from this school district. Stephen Covey defines UBD beautifully. To begin with the end in mind means to start with a clear understanding of your destination. It means to know where you're going so that you better understand where you are now and so that the steps you take are always in the right direction. I'd hate for somebody to start building my new house without a blueprint. So let's begin with UBD. There are really three major identifying factors that we need to talk about right now. The first, identify the desired results. You've heard of CUD. What is it you want the students to know? What do you want them to understand? What do you want them to do? The next one, determine what the acceptable evidence is. And lastly, you can begin to plan your learning experiences. We've all observed a class where the lesson or the activity had nothing to do with the objectives. This is unacceptable. Time is being wasted, and our students lose out. I've used the term interdependence over collaboration, primarily because I believe collaboration doesn't really mean a whole lot anymore. We need to be an integrated team. We need to depend on each other so that it allows our students to achieve maximum success. iSTEM demands it. Teachers, leaders, if we don't already have it, we need to gain a better understanding of systems, problem-based learning, experimental design, and the integration of content areas. If we don't have a handle on that, iSTEM becomes meaningless. Again, if we don't already know, we need to gain a better understanding of what skills our students need in order to be successful in iSTEM. These skills will enhance all students' abilities in all the content areas as they move toward attaining their academic achievement goals. Sure, I can do that, no problem. I hear you. Now where's the accountability? How many times has someone been in your class and all the time you've been a teacher? Leadership, you need to get in there, not as a punitive measure, but as a way to guide better instruction. Help me be a better teacher. This is where understanding by design and grasps come in. In iSTEM, they will enable teachers to adapt to the changes more easily and with less confusion. But more importantly, through better understanding, there will be a positive impact on our students' academic achievement. Grasps. This is a basic description of what a grasp is. It's a real-world goal, a real-world role, a real-world audience, a real-world situation, real-world products or performances. And also, it's standards-based. And I have to say that again, it's standards-based. Make sure the standards are aligned with the activity or the problem-based learning that the student is beginning to embark upon. This is a GRASPS template. This isn't what you're going to give the students. If you look at it, you can see it states your task is, your goal is, the problem or challenge is, the obstacles to overcome are. That's under goals. You're not going to have to use every single one of them. Role, you are, you've been asked to, your job is, and I can continue reading, but I won't. When you're done with this, you can sit down and write your performance-based assessment, or you can write your PBL. Everything you'll need will be right in front of you. It simplifies the process, and it makes sure you've covered everything you need to cover. When I first started this project, I was using a new, innovative platform that crashed my computer twice. So I'm not going to be able to click on the Prezi that you see listed in front of you. It was my first iSTEM project, and I have to tell you it wasn't that successful. And primarily, it was because it wasn't an integrative process. I looked up all the objectives for sustainability. I looked up all the objectives for science. I looked up objectives for design, and I sat down and I wrote it. When I tried to get help, everybody told me they didn't have time. I shouldn't have accepted that. Shame on me. I worked with the students in doing this, and it was okay. They had fun. They learned, but it wasn't what it could have been. I learned. So I picked up and I wrote some more. But I wanted you to see the first time, I call it massive failure in iSTEM. The other thing I tell you, don't use bonobos as your favorite animal. I won't tell you about that. Why? I won't tell you why now. But I can tell you, my students and I were on the floor crying. We were laughing so hard. Dare yourself to make perfection, but if it doesn't happen, pick yourself up, forgive yourself, and try again. Together, we can make this happen. Let's take ownership for what we're doing. Communicate and make sure everyone understands. I can remember giving a talk last year on gifted education, and someone finally raised their hand and said, "Jamie, do you realize we don't have a clue as to what it is you're talking about? If I'm not talking in a language that everyone understands, if I'm using esoteric, gifted language, it's useless. Science people, talk to me. Explain to me what I don't understand. Math people, anyone else. Let's not lose sight of the long-term goals. Integration of iSTEM and getting our students the education they deserve. We shouldn't overwhelm our co-workers or have meaningless plans, meaningless meetings. Ensure that the strategic goals are communicated to everyone. Don't assume because they're written on a sheet of paper that everyone knows what they are. Let's follow through. Implementation is everything. We have to also track progress. We should hold everyone accountable. One person simply doesn't bring about failure. Typically it's systematic. And let's empower those who are working with us. Here are some real-world iSTEM PBLs that are taking place right now. If time permitted, I'd break everybody down into groups, and we could deconstruct the PBLs onto the graphs sheets so that you can see how it really works. Unfortunately, we don't have time today, but it's something you might want to think about in the future. Congratulations. I'm not going to say mission accomplished, because it really isn't. It's mission just begun. I hope my discussion on UBD and GRASPs helps move you in the right direction as you begin to become interdependent with your team and bringing about iSTEM. I look forward to working with all of you next semester. Have a happy holiday, and thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for teaching me. All of you have taught me this semester. Bye.